welcome to Sew with Christine. Here's another amazing tutorial from this channel, and in today's video I'm going to be sharing with you how to cut and sew this plunging V cowl dress top. Now, to avoid exposure of the boobs, you can go ahead and tack this area down. So if this is what you're interested in watching, I would like you to stick around to the end, and do not forget to subscribe, like and share. As you can see, this particular dress has elastic at the back and has string that you can use to tie this at the neck area. Also, I made use of facing for this cowl neck instead of just hemming the top part, just to give this upper area a neat finishing. For this dress, the two important measurements that you need to take are the length of the cowl and the length of your dress. So you have to do this measurement on yourself or on your client. But for the purpose of this tutorial, I'm going to be taking down these measurements using my mannequin. For the length of the cowl, this is where you determine how deep you want the cowl to go. Alright, so I'm going to place my tape this way. I'll be measuring 32 inches this way. So for you, whatever you get, that is what you are going to use to make the dress. Next is for us to take the length. So from the shoulder, I'm just going to measure down this way to 25 inches. This also depends on how you want the length to be. So measure yourself and take the length where you want the dress to stop. For this, I will be using 25 inches and the cowl is 32 inches. So I'm going to add 1 inch to both measurements, 1 inch each to both measurements. That means I'm going to have the cowl part to be 33 inches now instead of 32 because of the seam allowance. So that 1 inch will serve as the seam allowance. Then for the length, I'm going to add 1 inch to that, and I will go ahead and add 5 inches for the facing. I hope you understand what I have just explained. So in total, our length will no longer be 25. Rather, we are going to have 31 inches for the length, because we are going to be needing 5 inches for the facing and 1 inch for the hemming allowance. Alright, before we go into this tutorial in full, here's the fabric that I'm going to be using, and this is a silk fabric. I have about 1 yard of fabric here. If you're going to be making this dress, you need just about 1 yard. Alright, and you can also use fabrics like chiffon, crepe, soft satin. You can use silk like what I'm using in this tutorial. So I'll go ahead and fold my fabric in two so I can cut out this measurement that I have taken. This area will be for the cowl, and since our cowl is now 33 inches, I'm going to divide that by 2 since my dress is on fold here. That is 16.5 inches. So I'm going to measure 16.5 inches at the top part here. Then on this side here, I'm going to measure 31 inches for the total length of this dress. So like I explained, we are going to be using up 5 inches for the facing of this cowl. Then we'll use 1 inch to hem the base of this dress. So this is me marking the 5 inches that we'll be using up for the facing. At this point, I'm going to mark down the 5 inches. Afterwards, I'm going to notch this area. If the top part of your facing has a fraying edge, then go ahead and fold it inward twice this way, then run your stitches over it, or you can overlock that area. Now that we have notched the facing, I will go ahead and notch the armhole area. For this, I'm using 9 inches. I divided the armhole by 2, and that is 9 inches. For ease, you may want to use 11 inches. So this depends on you. I really do not want the bodice to be exposed at the side. Hence the reason I'm going to leave this at 9 inches. If I feel it's not convenient, I can still drop this down a little. Hope you understand. What we have here from this 9 inches is about 17 inches. And this 17 inches would be the length of the back. And from the 5 inches mark downward, I have that at 26 inches. Alright, for the back, I have gone ahead to cut this on fold, as you can see, and I have the length of the back at 18 inches. I added 1 inch to the back length so that I can use that 1 inch for the elastic casing. So I'm going to be folding 1 inch at the top part of this back piece. Hope you understand. Next, for the width, I made use of the quarter hip measurement. Then I added 2 inches to that for ease. Then I added ½ inch for the seam allowance. So the quarter hip measurement I'm using for this tutorial is 10.5 inches. Then plus 2 inches for ease, that is 12.5, then ½ inch for seam. So altogether I have 13 inches there. Next, I'm going to fold the facing inward like so, and I'll use my pin to hold this in place. You can use your hemming gum to glue the facing to the main dress, or you can leave it this way. So I'll go ahead and take the measurement. I just want you guys to understand what I'm doing. You can see that the length is at 26 inches, just the exact length that we want. So next is for us to pipe the armhole area. I'm going to bring in this piece of fabric. If you want to cut this, you can use 1.5 inches width, or you can go ahead and make use of a bias tape. So I will just be using the exact fabric to pipe the armhole area like so. And I'm going to sew the string all through to the end. And this is what we have here. I've gone ahead to use the piece of fabric to pipe these areas. So this is what your dress would look like by the time we are done. Then for the back, I'm going to be sewing these upper parts. So this is where we are going to pass our elastic through. This will serve as the elastic casing. And here we are. I am done stitching this up. I'm going to bring in the elastic and I'll measure 9 inches. How I came about this is I took the measurement from one armhole to the other across the chest area, and I arrived at 11 inches. So I minus 2 inches from that. That gives 9. So I'll go ahead and cut this out, and I'll use my pin to pass this elastic through this casing. Alright, I am done. So I'll head over to my sewing machine and stitch up both sides. And this is it, guys. I'm done stitching the elastic down. Next, we are going to be closing off the sides. So this is the front part. I'm going to place the back part over the front one. Once I'm done arranging this, I'm going to pin down and sew from top to bottom. And here we are, guys. I'm done stitching up the sides of this dress. You can see what this looks like. And I've also gone ahead to hem the base of this top. So this is pretty much how to make this dress, and you can see the string and the elastic at the back. Thank you so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.